ajuni sabham gur prasad jap ਆਦ ਸਚ ਜੁਗਾਦ ਸਚ ਹੈ ਭੀ ਸਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਭੀ ਸਚ ਇਕ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਸਤਿਨਾਮ ਕਰਤਾ ਪੁਰਖ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਸੈਭੰ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ ਜਪ ਆਦ ਸਚ ਜੁਗਾਦ ਸਚ ਹੈ ਭੀ ਸਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਭੀ ਸਚ ਇਕ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਸਤਿਨਾਮ ਕਰਤਾ ਪੁਰਖ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਸੈਭੰ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ ਜਪ ਆਦ ਸਚ ਜੁਗਾਦ ਸਚ ਹੈ ਭੀ ਸਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਭੀ ਸਚ ਇਕ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਸਤਿਨਾਮ ਕਰਤਾ ਪੁਰਖ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਸੈਭੰ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ ਜਪ ਆਦ ਸਚ ਜੁਗਾਦ ਸਚ ਹੈ ਭੀ ਸਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਭੀ ਸਚ ਇਕ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਸਤਿਨਾਮ ਕਰਤਾ ਪੁਰਖ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਸੈਭੰ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ ਜਪ ਆਦ ਸਚ ਜੁਗਾਦ ਸਚ ਹੈ ਭੀ ਸਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਭੀ ਸਚ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ 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 ਗਿਆਨ ਧਿਆਨ ਕਿਛ ਕਰਮ ਨ ਜਾਣਾ ਸਾਰ ਨ ਜਾਣਾ ਤੇਰੀ ਸਭ ਤੇ ਵੱਡਾ ਸਤਿਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਜਿਨ ਕਲ ਰਾਖੀ ਮੇਰੀ ਸਭ ਤੇ ਵੱਡਾ ਸਤਿਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਜਿਨ ਕਲ ਰਾਖੀ ਮੇਰੀ। ਗੁਰੂ ਰੂਪ ਪਿਆਰੀ ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਆਪ ਜੀ ਸਾਰੇ ਵਡਭਾਗੀ ਹਨ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਧੰਨ 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 ਸ੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਦੇ ਹਜ਼ੂਰੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਕੱਤਰ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ। ਅਰਦਾਸ ਕੁਝ ਸਮੇਂ ਲਈ ਅੰਗਰੇਜ਼ੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਕਥਾ, ਇਤਿਹਾਸਿਕ ਕਥਾ ਅੰਗਰੇਜ਼ੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਾਂਝ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ। ਇਸ ਦਾ ਕਾਰਨ ਇਹ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਇਸ ਦੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਘਰ ਦੇ ਸੇਵਾਦਾਰ ਅਤੇ ਬਾਕੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਵੀ ਸੇਵਾਦਾਰ ਜੁੜੇ ਹਨ ਇਸ ਸੇਵਾ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਅਸੀਂ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਨ ਕਿ ਅੰਗਰੇਜ਼ੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਥਾ ਹੋਵੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਹਿਜ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਸਮਝਣ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਈ ਮੁਸ਼ਕਿਲਾਂ ਆਉਂਦੀਆਂ ਹਨ। So ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ, we are gathered again in the Darbar of the King of Kings of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj to reflect on the Bani that has been blessed to us by Vaheguru themselves, by the Creator themselves, who came in the physical form as Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj. And in Gurbani we reflect on this many, many times, where we say that Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj, Vaheguru, they themselves listened to the cries of the world, and they took a physical form as Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj and blessed us with their Sikhina. And it's very important that we recognize that, and we recognize that Guru Paramveer Singh Eko Jan, that there's no difference between the Guru that we see today as Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj. Nor is there a difference between Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj and Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj. Further to that, there's no difference between Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj and Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj. And with all of them, there's no difference between them and Sri Akal Purkh Vaheguru themselves. From the very beginning, the Shabad has always been our Guru. When Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj were asked themselves, who is your Guru? Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj said that the Shabad is the Guru. Shabad Guru Suratana Chella. That the Shabad is their Guru, and the Surati, their consciousness, is focused on the Shabad. And that they're a Chella, they're a follower of that Shabad. And when we look at Gurbani, when we look at Sikhi, the Gurus have always taught us to become one with the Shabad, focus on the Shabad, do Simran on that Shabad. Because when we do Simran on the Shabad, we do Simran of Vaheguru, remember that Creator. Hence today we have Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj. Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj are that Shabad the form who we bow down to in an effort to get rid of our home, to get rid of that disease, that sense of I that we have, that sense of ego that we have. And in order to do that, we do Seva, we do Simran, but we also listen to Katha as well. So hence there's always a focus on listening to Katha at every opportunity that we can get. So today, we are going to be focusing on a great personality, a great individual, a great Gursikh in our Panth. The reason why is that we can draw inspiration from these Gursikhs. There's a well-known saying, Babaniya Kahaniya Bota Sabota Karen, where when we listen to the Kahaniya, when we listen to the tales of our ancestors, of our Babbe, Babaniya Kahaniya, what happens as a result of that? By listening to the tales of our ancestors, those Gursikhs have walked this path before us. And more importantly, when we listen to the tales of our Gurus, we get empowered. Where these Sakya, they change a Buddha, they change a child who we all are. We are all children. We are all children in the eyes of Vaheguru. We are all Buddha. Those Buddha turn into Subbuddha. And Subbuddha, you can say, loosely translates into supreme children, the best of the children. And in doing that, listening to these tales is one way where we can draw that inspiration, draw that motivation to become those great Sikhs like those who we are going to be reflecting on today. So today, we have chosen to reflect on Shaheed Bhai Mani Singh Ji Shaheed. And the reason why is because their Shahidi Purab is around the corner. And often when I listened to Katha for the first time and I reflected on the title of Shaheed Bhai Mani Singh Ji Shaheed, I often used to think that there was a mistake. Because often we hear the term Shaheed being used when we describe the Shaheeds. And a Shaheed is someone who's made that Qurbani, that ultimate sacrifice, giving their physical body for the Bala of the Panth. Now, if we recognize Shaheed Bhai Mani Singh Ji Shaheed's name, we'll see that they themselves have Shaheed in their name twice. And there's no mistake for that. The reason for that is because Shaheed Bhai Mani Singh Ji Shaheed is part of a family where in their direct family, there's 29 Shaheeds. So for the purposes of when I refer to Bhai Mani Singh Ji, I'm referring to Shaheed Bhai Mani Singh Ji Shaheed. So who is Bhai Mani Singh Ji? Bhai Mani Singh Ji are the reasons why we have Tan Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj today. As we reflected earlier, Shabad Guru, Suratana Chella, where we have to make an effort in seeing Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj as our Guru. So what was Bhai Mani Singh Ji's role in blessing us with Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj as we have today? Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj blessed us with the Kirtarpuri Bheed, which is the first form of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, the first physical form of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, known as Sri Ad Granth Ji. There was a time when Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, after battle, sat down and asked for this bead and said to the Sangat members who had this bead, so the Tirmal family, he asked them to be blessed with that Kirtarpuri bead so they could bless the whole Sangat with Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, with the complete form of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj. When Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj asked Tirmal and the family members for the Sarup of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj were refused. And Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj were actually challenged. The Guru was questioned, and you could say challenged in the way that they said to Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, if you're the Guru, you don't even need to see the Shabads that Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj blessed us with. If there's no difference between you and Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj, you should be able to recite those same Shabads again today. And Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj had nothing to prove. They don't need to prove anything to us. But even then, they thought to themselves that if they don't create an answer for this now, the Sikhs may potentially have a doubt being implanted in their minds. So in order to remove that doubt, Sri Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj sat down and blessed Bhai Mani Singh Ji to be the scribe to form the very first Sarup of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj as we do darshan of them today. And that effort took 9 months and 9 days. So for 9 months and 9 days, Bhai Mani Singh Ji sat down and wrote the Shabads as Sri Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj recited them. That's why we're reflecting on Bhai Mani Singh Ji today. Bhai Mani Singh Ji were also responsible for collating the Shabads as we recite in Sri Dasam Bani, and alongside many Itihasik Granths and many other Janam Sakhiyan which Shaheed Bhai Mani Singh Ji have helped to scribe. So Shaheed Bhai Mani Singh Ji, as we mentioned, they're from a family which we see 29 Shaheeds. That includes their great-grandfather, their grandfather. Their grandfather, Bhai Balu Rai, were a Gursikh of Sri Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji Maharaj. And in the Battle of Amritsar, they were responsible for killing that Dost, that person responsible for capturing Sri Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj and passing Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj and sending them to the Mughal forces, which then resulted in Sri Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj becoming a Shaheed. Capturing is probably the wrong word to use. Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj let these individuals take them into the courts of the Mughal Empire. But it was those individuals that were responsible for those actions that Bhai Mani Singh Ji's grandfather helped to kill. And in doing this, in many other battles, their grandfather became a Shaheed. The father of Bhai Mani Singh Ji had 12 sons, out of which 11 became Shaheed, 11 became martyrs. And the only reason why it's not 12 is because one of them left their physical body at a very young age, at an age of an infant. So they didn't even get the chance to become a Shaheed. That's the family, the legacy that Bhai Mani Singh Ji comes from. Bhai Mani Singh Ji's brothers are individuals that we've all heard of. Bhai Mani Singh Ji's eldest brother fought in battles with Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, alongside with many other brothers. Bhai Dayala Ji is someone that we all know of. We've seen their pictures in the Guru Kars. It's the tale where Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji Maharaj, the 9th Guru, before they became martyred in an effort to break their spirits, Bhai Mati Das Ji, Bhai Sati Das Ji and Bhai Dayala Ji were all tested before Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji. Bhai Dayala Ji being the second eldest brother out of the 12 brothers, paved that example, showed by example what it meant to give Shahidi. Bhai Dayala Ji is that beloved Gursikh who sat in a cauldron and was boiled alive. Before that, they were given an ultimatum. They were told that if you convert to Islam, you do not need to go through this torture. That if you convert to Islam, you'll get all of the treasures of the world. But if you don't do this, you'll have to go and bear witness to sit in a cauldron of water and be boiled alive. Bhai Dayala Ji spoke to these Ghazis, spoke to these individuals who gave these ideas, and Bhai Dayala Ji refused. Instead, when they were asked what their final request was, they said, I want to be facing my beloved Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji Maharaj as I'm becoming a shaheed, as I leave this physical body. And in doing so, Bhai Dayala Ji is sitting in this cauldron and they're being boiled. And instead of crying out in pain, instead of sitting down and thinking to themselves, why is this happening to me? They start reciting Siri Sukhmani Sahib. And we'll see that Siri Sukhmani Sahib is a theme that we will keep on coming back to again and again and again. In the Bani itself, in the title itself, we know that Siri Sukhmani Sahib is usually recited at a time when people are happy. When there's birthday celebrations, when there's anniversary celebrations, when there's an announcement, right? When we want the Guru's blessings, we always come into Maharaj's sanctuary and we often do a Sukhmani Sahib now these days. And imagine in that moment when you're facing death, you recite the Bani of Sukhmani Sahib to say, Maharaj, that we don't consider this as pain, but rather we see this as sukh, we see this as happiness. Now, if you reflect on the sons of Shaheed Bhai Mati Das Ji, we reflect on the second eldest son, who is Bhai Vijitra Singh Ji. And Bhai Vijitra Singh Ji is someone that we've all seen. We've all seen their pictures, whether it's in the Gurukars, whether it's on social media, whether it's on Facebook, Instagram, you name it, there's pictures of Bhai Vijitra Singh Ji all over online. There's pictures of Vijitra Singh Ji all over the world in many, many Gurukars. Many of us know the fearless nature of Bhai Vijitra Singh Ji, where with their Barsha, they were able to take on a drunken hathi, an intoxicated hathi, a hathi that was intoxicated with drugs, with alcohol. And Bhai Vijitra Singh Ji, without any fear, got a Barsha with Guru Sahib's blessings and was able to kill that elephant that was attacking the forge. We've all reflected on this Sakhi many, many times about how many of us have joined the dots together. How many of us realize that this was the son of Bhai Mani Das Ji. So this is the legacy that this amazing Gursikh has blessed us with. And we see this again and again and again, where during Guru Gobind Singh Ji's time again, we have Bhai Uday Ji. Now, during the siege of Anandpur Sahib, where Guru Gobind Singh Ji and the Sangat remained in Anandpur Sahib for many, many months, it was locked so that the Sangat couldn't leave, the Sangat couldn't enter, the Sangat couldn't get any rations, they couldn't get food, they couldn't get water. The Sangat together spoke to the Ghazis, spoke to the people in charge of the opposition, and asked for free passage. Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj warned the Sangat that they said, do not believe in the false promises of these Ghazis. But yet, because of the torture that the Sangat went through, they wanted to try anything possible to get out of that fort, that Qila in Anandpur Sahib. So as the Sangat left, the betrayal started. the Sangat led by Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj came across the Sarsa river. And prior to this, the Mughal forces, the Pahari Raje, they all came together and they started to attack the Gursikhs, the Parivars, the sons, the daughters, the children, the parents, the grandparents, in an effort to loot and kill. You had the eldest Sahibzada, Baba Ajit Singh Ji, at the back, and they started to fight and they protected the Sangat. But with Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj's blessings, you had Bhai Uday Ji, who then went back with the blessings of Guru Gobind Singh Ji, told Baba Ajit Singh Ji to continue with the Sangat and held the fort down to allow safe passage for the Sangat to cross the river Sarsa. In doing this, Bhai Uday Ji fought for 4.5 hours. They fought off 10 lakhs, 1 million opposition. They fought non-stop. That's the caliber of Sikhs. That's the caliber of Bachche that Shaheed Bhai Mani Singh Ji gave birth to, that Shaheed Bhai Mani Singh Ji developed. Hence we're reflecting on them. And for us, whether we're students, whether we're teenagers, whether we're children, whether we're parents, we can all learn a lot from Bhai Mani Singh Ji. To learn the qualities that are required for our parent, or to learn the qualities of a student. These are all very important values for us to take on, to see what were the successes of Bhai Mani Singh Ji, why did they have such a powerful Jivan, and how was it possible that they influenced so many people around them. Bhai Mani Singh Ji, when they became Shaheed, which we'll reflect on that itihas, they were Shaheed with their 2 sons and the Mahela, their wife, Mata Situ Ji. And to have your children and to have your partner to stand with you in that time of need, in that time of greatest difficulty, just speaks volumes of the nature of the great caliber of a Gursikh of Shaheed Bhai Mani Singh Ji were. And these are simple qualities that we sometimes overlook, but the qualities that we can learn and implement in our lives. So in Pant Prakash, there's a saying that's written, there's a teaching given. And this teaching is denoted for all of us to learn. Because for me, when I hear the story of Shaheed Bhai Mani Singh Ji, the questions I have in my mind is, how can I become a fraction of Shaheed Bhai Mani Singh Ji? How can I become 1% of the individual that Shaheed Bhai Mani Singh Ji were? And in Pan Prakash, we hear the following, where we hear Siri Mukha De Paramanyo Aise, that these are the teachings from the Gurus themselves. What did they say? Tu Bharatan. So, Tu Bharatan, go to those Bharatan, go to those Pande, right? And what should you do? Mango ge jaise. Go to these Bharatans and clean those Bharatans. Go and do that Hathi Seva of washing those Pande. And the reasons for that is because by doing that, we make our mind clean. We make our man clean. By making our mind clean, by making our man clean, by cleaning our insides, we then make room for this Vidya of Brahm Vidya to then be blessed into that space. Without doing that internal work, without doing that seva, nothing is possible. We can't become great Gursikhs like Shaheed Bhai Mani Singh Ji. So when Shaheed Bhai Mani Singh Ji came into the sanctuary of the Gurus, they did just that. They washed their bhatte, they did as much Hathi Seva as possible. They did as much Seva as they could with their hands. Because by doing this, our man becomes nirmal, it becomes pure. And by doing this, we develop an element of doing Seva with Nishkam. So initially, we may struggle to do Seva without any desire. We may struggle to come to a Gurukar without any desire. But that's fine. That's the first step. To come into a Gurukar and recognize that Siddha Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj are going to be that individual who can bless you with everything. to recognize that it's that seva that is going to save us and also bless us with everything that we have in this world. But more importantly, it's a mechanism, it's a tool for us to develop a mindset where we believe we're the lowest of the low, where we believe that the Sangat is greater than us, where we get rid of our ego and we start serving that creator and that creation. And by doing that, we get rid of our ego, and then doing seva without any desires in a nishkam form is then possible. So these are the qualities that these amazing Gursikhs had, that Shaheed Bhai Mani Singh Ji had. Because without those seva, without doing that seva, you can't become great like Shaheed Bhai Mani Singh Ji became. So then the question becomes to us, what seva should we do? What types of seva can we do? And seva isn't just limited to a Guru Ghar, but it can certainly start there. You can go into the langar hall and just wash the batte, wash the plates, wash the cups. You can go to the toilets and clean the toilets. You can come when the Guru Ghar hoovers the Guru Ghar, come and hoover and help dust and clean. But you can also do seva at home. You can also do seva on the streets. You can do seva at work. You can do seva at colleges, at universities, and at schools. By doing this seva, again, we get rid of that mela that is on our minds, and we make space for that Brahma Vidya. Because it was only because of that seva, because it was only because of that time, that then Bhai Mani Singh Ji was then chosen to become the scribe to bless us with Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj. It was only because of those efforts that then Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj themselves told by Shaheed Bhai Mani Singh Ji, that they were going to be the head of Sri Amritsar Sahib, that they were going to be responsible for doing the prachar around Sri Harmandir Sahib. So when we go to Sri Harmandir Sahib today, it's unfortunate that we haven't continued the tradition of Katha, where we go to Sri Harmandir Sahib and we enjoy that beautiful kirtan that has come from Sachkhand. But there was a time where we would listen to Katha as well, because by listening to Katha, we develop understanding. By developing understanding, can we get closer to the Guru? And these are teachings that we hear in Sri Japji Sahib as well. When we recite Gavya, Suniya, Mana Rakhiya Pao, where the first step in Sikhi is just to sing. It doesn't matter whether you understand the words that you're reciting, but if we simply sing, that's one step closer to the Guru. It's a bit like a baby who starts to blabble, or might say mum or dad, right? Or might say random words. That baby may not necessarily understand what they're saying, but the parent gets very happy at the words that the child is trying to say. In the same way, we may not understand what we're saying, but know that when we sing these shabads that have come from that realm of Sajjai, Turki Bani Ai, Din Sagli Chint Matai, when we recite those words that have come from that realm of Sajjai, not only do we get the kushya of Maharaj, but we get the answer to all of our problems. Any anxiety that we have, any questions that we have on our mind, Maharaj will provide an answer and a solution. They'll pave that way. So Gavya is the first step. Then Suniya, to then listen. But then to listen means to understand. And you can only listen and understand a message if you try to break down that message. That's why listening to Katha is very, very important, especially listening to Gurbani Katha. Gavya, Suniya, Mana Rakhiya Pao. Then it's about believing in what you've listened to. There's no point being a Gyani, being a educated individual around a topic if you're not going to act on those teachings. Gaviye, suniye, man rakhiye pao. Believe in them, protect them, act on them. And by doing that, what do you get? You get pao, you get love. You get that love for that creator. You get love for Maharaj. And when you get love for Maharaj, every single action that you have on your mind, every single thing that you want to do to please Maharaj becomes unquestionable. So things like getting up at Amrita Villa become easy because you got the piyas for it, you got the thirst for it, you got the love for it. Coming into Sangat and doing Sangat becomes easier because you got the love for it, you got the thirst for it. But that's only possible if you first sit down and sing and immerse yourself in that Gurbani. So coming back to the Itihas, why did Bhai Mani Singh Ji become the great Shaheed, given the title of a Shaheed themselves? Them being the leading figure of the Sikh Panth was instrumental in the Shahidi. Bhai Mani Singh Ji wanted to continue a tradition that was started by the third Guru, Guru Amar Das Sahib Ji. Guru Amar Das Sahib Ji, on two separate occasions, would gather the Panth, would gather all the Sikhs. The first occasion will be in Vaisakhi, the second occasion will be during the festival of Deepamala, of Diwali. Now, why is this important? Because this tradition, unfortunately, during this time was very difficult to continue. Because the Sikhs would go into the jungles, into the forests to survive and preserve the Sikhi that we have today. Because if they gathered in large groups, they wouldn't be celebrating, but rather they would be protecting themselves. They'll be fighting to survive another day. By Maniji, they themselves paved the way for the Sangat to come together. Because at the same time there was a condition, there was a curfew put on the Sikh Sangat, where no one after a certain period of time, out of certain hours, were able to come together as a collective and do Sangat. And this was very difficult for the Sikhs because that put a lot of pressure on certain Sikh Maryada that couldn't be continued. So Bhai Mani Singh Ji spoke to the Ghazi, spoke to the individuals that were of control, that had influence, and said, allow for a gathering for the Sikhs, just as Guru Amar Das Sahib Ji Maharaj had started, just as the Sikh Panth would gather during Vaisakhi and during Diwali. The Ghazis and the Mughal officials agreed, but they put a condition. They said, we'll give you passage, but you have to give a sum that totaled to 7,000 rupees. Now in Pant Prakash, it's quoted that the total was 10,000 rupees. Either way, it was a lot of money. But for Bhai Mani Singh Ji, there was no value on the Kushiyan of the Sangat. There's no value on the Sangat coming together. So as a consequence, Bhai Mani Singh Ji agreed. And as a result, they called out to all of the Sikh who resided in the jungles, in the forests, of the Sikh that was scattered all over India, and called them to come together and gather at a spot. And when these letters went out, when these hukamname went out, and the Sangat got news of this and started gathering, the Ghazis, the Mughal officials, saw greed. They turned back on their words. They empowered the Mughals, they empowered soldiers, they empowered generals with a gathering of 50,000 soldiers. Bhai Mani Singh Ji saw this and asked, they said, why do you have so many soldiers? And the officials said that this is just for safeguarding, this is just for safekeeping, this is just to police the area. But Bhai Mani Singh Ji were no fool. They knew that this was an opportunity for the Mughals to come and capture those Sikhs, those generals that they were trying so hard to capture. So seeing this and fearing the safety of these Gursikhs of the Sangat, Bhai Mani Singh Ji sent out letters to say to those Sangat members to not come and not gather. That this wasn't going to be a time for celebration, but rather it would be a time for fear. So Bhai Mani Singh Ji, in an effort to protect the Sangat, then sent out these letters, but by that time there was a lot of Sangat that started gathering. And when they gathered, they were asked by the Sangat to go back. Because in large gatherings, especially when you had 50,000 Mughal soldiers in the vicinity, it would have been very easy for a battle to start, for a battle to play out. And in a time of celebration, there would have been bloodshed. So there were many, many people who were not refused the Sangat Ji, but there was so many Sangat members that came and then left before even doing Darshan of Sri Harmandir Sahib. Before even having an opportunity to come and do an ishnan in that sarovar, that pavitra sarovar that we believe that if you have an ishnan in, all of your pap get eradicated. This is an astan that we believe is Sachkhand on earth, that is the realm of truth on earth. The most powerful, you can say, monument, the most beloved building for the Gursikhs that all these Sangat members had an itcha to see. They couldn't do so because of the treachery of the Mughal soldiers. So the Sangat went back, and then on the 4th day, Bhai Mani Singh Ji were called. And these Mughal officials, they said to Bhai Mani Singh Ji, they said that you've had time, now it's time for you to pay up. Give us the amount that you promised. Give us this 10,000 rupees that you promised. But Bhai Mani Singh Ji said that they weren't going to give the money. And the reasons for this was because Bhai Mani Singh Ji highlighted that there was not an opportunity for the Sangat to come and celebrate together, but rather because of their treachery, because of their dishonor by gathering 50,000 soldiers under the guise of policing, many Sangat members had to walk away. And in doing so, there was no betta collected and there was no free passage. The Ghazis, the officials, became very annoyed. And as a result of this, they called Mani Singh Ji to the courts. After which, when Bhai Mani Singh Ji were called, they showed no fear, but rather they balad fateh really, really loud. And as a result of this, the Ghazis, the generals, they all became frustrated. And they demanded the execution of Shaheed Bhai Mani Singh Ji Shaheed. Shaheed Bhai Mani Singh Ji Shaheed, just like their brother Bhai Dayallah Ji, just like Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji, were offered the condition that if they converted to Islam, or if they paid the fine penalty that was on their head, that they would be free, that they could practice however they want to, and if they converted to Islam, they'll get all of the pleasures of the world. And Bhai Mani Singh Ji reminded them of who they were and their lineage that they're from. And they asked them, in this time that you've tried to convert so many people, has anyone converted? Has anyone let go of this Shabad that Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj brought, that Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj has brought? Because this is the price of the Shabad. This is the price of Sikhi. And the price for Sikhi and for us being here is the Shahidi of those great Gursikhs who have come and given their lives for us to be here today. Because for them, death was way more important than converting. Because Sikhi is priceless. So in doing this and hearing this, they called Bhai Mani Singh Ji to be executed. and to be executed in the most excruciating way possible, in the most painful manner, and that was to be cut by limb. And before this, in an effort to break the spirits of Shaheed Bhai Mani Singh Ji, they got their students, they got their family members, and executed them in front of him. There was one student who was skinned alive. And even then, Bhai Mani Singh Ji did not waver. And when it was their time, they stood, they sat up when they were called, and they presented their body without any difficulty. And instead of reflecting on why they were chosen, instead of thinking about why they were selected, Bhai Mani Singh Ji accepted that hukam and accepted that it was their time to join the never-ending list of shahidiyan that have started and are continually growing. So in doing this, the executioner, in his mind, because he was given the objective of executing Bhai Mani Singh Ji from limb by limb, and he thought that the best way to do this was by cutting Shaheed Bhai Mani Singh Ji's body into 4 pieces, by cutting the arms and the legs. But Bhai Mani Singh Ji stopped him, and they said, "Oh beloved executioner," still spoke with prem, with love. They said that you've been given the command, the order to take my body limb by limb. And my limbs start from here, from my fingertips. That within my finger, there's 3 limbs. Within my hand, there's 15 limbs. You do what you have been ordered to do. That's how fearless Shaheed Bhai Mani Singh Ji were. And they only got this power because they've reflected on that itihas that they would have grown up in, because they've reflected on that gurbani that they were given. But most importantly, because they did this seva that allowed for that gurbani, that allowed for that itihas to actually hit home. And Sangat Ji, there's 2 accounts, and both of them send the same message for us. One account says that as soon as Shaheed Bhai Mani Singh Ji's limbs were being cut off, they started the recitation of Sri Japji Sahib. Other sources say that the recitation of Sri Sukhmani Sahib started. But either way, it was Gurbani. And it was only when the head, the final limb was taken, that not even at that point did the Bani stop. But rather when the Bani finished, when the entire recitation of Japji Sahib, when the entire recitation of Sri Sukhmani Sahib was complete, you could say the Atma did, but Shaheed Bhai Mani Singh Ji leave their physical form. Again, it comes back to that Sukhmani Sahib that Bhai Dayala Ji recited. So for us, what are the key takeaways? The key takeaway is that if we ever want motivation, if we ever want inspiration, if we ever feel low, let's just reflect on our itihas, because there's so many examples that we can just reflect on and learn off. And you get motivated, you get inspired. It certainly helps me. But more importantly, let's look at the good jivan of these great Gursikhs and see what they did and how can we follow. And it all comes back down to the power of Gurbani. In Sri Japji Sahib, when we bow down to Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, the first Bani that we bow down to is Sri Japji Sahib. And the first order that we get from Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj within Sri Japji Sahib is Jap. The order to repeat, the order to meditate. What should we be japping? any shabad that you feel that you have a connection to. But the most supreme shabad is Vaheguru. So let's all try and collectively increase our abhyas, increase our practice. And it's something that Maharaj has made very simple for us. Because as soon as we say Vaheguru, we're taking a step closer to Maharaj. As soon as we say Vaheguru, we're topping up our inside with that love for Maharaj. The more times we say Vaheguru, the more time we are actually flowering that love for Vaheguru. So that's something that we should all try and take away. And it's something to remember that Sikhi is out of this world. Where we reflect on it and we say, and we recite in Siddhi Japji Sahib, Patala Patala, Lakha Agasa Agas, that Sikhi isn't just something that exists in this realm. Sikhi is beyond this realm, beyond this time. And there's a Sakhi that's just coming into mind of Bhai Mardana ji and Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj when they went to Baghdad. After the Ishnan, Bhai Mardana ji starts to play the rabab, and Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj and Bhai Mardana ji start to sing the Pavitra Bani of Sri Japji Sahib. And as they're singing the Shabads Patala Patal, Lak Agasa Agas, there's a follower of Bir Dastagir. And this follower, this student, is listening to these words, and they listen to the entirety of Japji Sahib, and they go to Bir Dastagir. And they go to their teacher, they first ask for forgiveness for being late, and they explain that the reasons why they're late is because they came across a sadhu, a saint-looking individual who was singing. And now, this alone frustrated Bir Dastagir, because Bir Dastagir was an advocate for Sharia law, and as part of that law, you could not sing, you could not play any instruments. And then the student of Bir Dastagir said that this saintly-looking individual was not only singing, but they sung the words Batala Batal, Lak Agasa Agas. They're saying that there's countless worlds beyond our imagination and beyond our comprehension. And Bir Dastagir said that this contradicts the teachings that you've told me. The student said to Bir Dastagir that these teachings contradict the teachings that you've told me and the teachings that you've said have been blessed to us by the Prophet. The Prophet being Prophet Muhammad. So hearing this, Bir Dastagir gets his followers and they go to Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj with the aim to stone Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj alive. Because that was the punishment for going against the teachings of Islam. That was the punishment for singing in an environment which was ruled by Sharia law. They come with that intention, they go to throw the rocks, and all Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj says is Sat Sri Akal, Gurbar Akal. And in that way, everyone was frozen. Bir Dastagir tried to use all of his spiritual power to overturn Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj. But realizing that Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj were a spiritual individual themselves, far greater than Bir Dastagir, they asked for forgiveness. And they asked for the forgiveness on behalf of everyone else who came to stone Guru Nanak Dev Ji and Bhai Mardana Ji. Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj, because of the compassion that they had, accepted this and continued dialogue. And Bir Dastagir had two questions. One of which was about music. And he asked that the Prophet had banned music because music creates calm, creates lust. Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj said that music is not the issue. but rather they used the analogy of a bowl. They said, imagine a bowl that is made out of mud and it has poison. Imagine a bowl that is made out of gold and it has amrit. Now, if you was to take the water, that poison rather, from that bowl that is made out of mud, obviously you're going to be affecting negatively. So for us, if we use music in the wrong way, we're going to get the wrong vikar, the vishay vikar growing inside of us, which is kaam, krodh, lobh, moh, hankar, being lust, anger, ego, attachment, desires, and so forth. But if you drink the amrit from the golden bowl, you'll become impure inside. You'll become pure and you'll become immortal. And so when we get our saj, when we get our sitar, when we get our vajje, whatever it may be, when we sing Gurbani, we're taking amrit from that golden bowl. But when we sing and we listen to songs and we play instruments in a manner that is increasing our calm or our krodh, our anger, or any of the vishay vikar, then we're drinking poison. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj said, it's not the instrument, it's not music that's the issue, it's the intention. And so in that way, Peer Dastigir accepted it. And for us, a key takeaway for all that is that we should be drinking that amrit, we should be listening to that kirtan. If we can play, we should be playing any sort of instrument that we can. We should learn how to play. But at the very least, we should listen. We should sit down. And again, it goes back to that initial teaching. Gaviya, Suniya, Mana Rakhiya Pa. Because when you come into the sanctuary of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj and you sing that kirtan, you start growing that love for Maharaj. The second question was around Patala, Patala. That Guru Nanak Dev Ji, you say that there's worlds beyond worlds, but the Prophet said there's only 14. Who's right and who's wrong? And Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj said, I'll show you. He said, I'll show you and I'll take you to these realms, these countless worlds. Peer Dastigir said, look, I'm too old, Guru Nanak Dev Ji. Take my son instead. He's young, he's fit, and he's healthy. And if anything goes wrong, he'll be able to deal with it a lot more easier than me. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj, with Peer Dastigir's son, takes him to these realms. And Peer Dastigir's son and Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj go to these worlds. There's another world, there's another world, there's another world, there's another world. There's countless. But in all of these worlds, there's two things which are the same. Those things being Gurbani and Kara Prasad. So at each asthana, at each planet, at each place that they went to, Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj and Peer Dastigir came across Kara Prasad. That's how powerful Kara Prasad is, where it's something that is universal across all of these worlds. So the son of Peer Dastigir became very old, very tired himself, and he said to Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj, I've seen these worlds, Chalo, now it's time to go to my origin, go back to my family. But he was fearful because he spent so much time with Guru Nanak Dev Ji, he thought that none of his family's members would recognize him, that his parents, his elders would have left this world, and the youngsters wouldn't have known who he is. But in that moment, Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj brought Peer Dastigir and themselves back to that very same point that they left. And Peer Dastigir, for him, it was just a blip. Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj and Peer Dastigir were traveling for many years. But for Peer Dastigir, in his view, all of that happened in 1 second. And the son of Peer Dastigir explained all of this, and Peer Dastigir asked for forgiveness and realized that Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj were Paramatma themselves. The point in all of this, Sangat Ji, was to highlight that Gurbani is not something that is just fixed to this world. It's something that is beyond our comprehension. It's beyond this world. And we are very, very blessed individuals to be coming to a Gurukar at this time, on this day, and be reflecting on the Itihas, and be reflecting on the Gurbani. So whatever it is, whether it's the teaching of doing seva to make yourselves nirmal inside, let that be the teaching. But if it's the teaching to listen to Sakya, let that be the teachings. If it's to grow a connection with Gurbani, let that be the teaching. So, to finish off, as always, I'll do Benti to the Sangat for at least 30 seconds. We'll do Simran together. Let this be a chance for you guys, for all of us rather, to reflect on the Sakya, the teachings that we've all reflected on. Then after which, we'll bala Fateh. Vaheguru 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 Vaheguru. Jo Sangat Ji, if I've offended anyone in any way, that wasn't my intention. But aap ji da bahut bahut dhanwad, and a benti is please spread the message of Gurbani, spread the message of the katha that happens here. Because with Guru Sahib's kripa, by doing that, we can get closer to Maharaj. So as always, if I've offended anyone in any way,